I became a walking billboard. Don't be a secret agent, right? Let everyone know around you what you do, be excited about it. I was an executor and I was going to get the job done and find the answers, right? So I wasn't afraid to say, hey, I don't have the answer, but I will get the answer.
So how do you know Tara? Did you meet her in one of her many trips around the world that she that she takes?
Yeah. She is a woman of many, many talents. So Tara and I were part of the same brokerage in the past, Keller Williams, and we were also part of an organization called KWYP, Young Professionals.
Yes.
And so online, we kind of knew each other through social media. And she did a couple training events on Zoom for my team and I. And then we met in person and just hit it off. We're very similar minded, similar energy. And so, yeah, so I've known her for a couple years now. And yeah, she's great. So just same network, same brokerage, that type of deal. Sorry, I have my
That's
yellow
okay.
lab.
That's all right. Oh, I have my girls, my dog is my life. Forget I believe me, I get
Oh yeah,
it.
I love him. He's crazy. He turns 2 years old in a couple weeks. So
Oh, did he rip up your house like my puppy? My puppy ate my baseboards, forget my
oh
shoes.
God. Not no, hopefully he doesn't, but no, he's been good so far. He's had his moments, but
That's
he's a
good.
puppy, so
Yeah, that's
yeah.
good. We had a remodel after
Oh
we
my
literally
God.
had a remodel because the dog ate everything. But she turned out she calmed down a lot.
Yes, yellow labs are very high energy.
Yes, we had a yellow lab growing up. I grew up in Coral Springs and we had
Nice.
a yellow lab. His name was Rocky. He was the best.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they definitely dogs definitely touch a certain place.
they
Um,
do. Yeah.
so the purpose of our show is to have agents that are younger in the business, not in age, just in the business, just kind of get to learn from people that have navigated the waters a bit and understand what's your specialty. And, a friend of Tara's a friend of mine. I absolutely love her. We've been really good friends for a long time. So just really getting to understand what your specialty is. And if, speaking to some younger agents in the business, what could they learn from you? So I'll just ask you some questions and we'll just let it ride.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So welcome to the Giver Gain Show. So Richie, tell me a little bit about why you got into the business.
Yeah, so I was active duty military. I was active duty Navy for 10 years. And
Mm.
I knew I was going to get out at the 10-year mark. So uh in 2018, at my 9-year mark, I decided to get licensed. And the reason I got licensed wasn't to become a realtor. It was because I was very interested in the investment side of things. So I figured if I get my real estate license, I can understand the insides of a transaction and kind of behind the scenes. So that was my logic behind getting my license. And so I got my license, and my CrossFit coach at the time and friend, he had also been licensed for about a year. And so I saw him, and he was also a military veteran. And I saw him kind of doing well on social media. I was like, hey, man, I want to see what you do. What is this being a realtor thing about?
Mhm.
I only got my license, because I want to become an investor. So I saw what he did. I was like, oh, I can do this. I've done sales my entire life, for the most part, before the military. And so I liked it. It was just what I did regardless. It was connecting people. It was connecting with people, and helping people, and just learning a bunch. So I got my license in 2018, part-time, sold a couple homes, bought 4 homes while I was still an instructor for the Navy at the schoolhouse,
Uh-huh.
and decided to get out the Navy in 2019.
Mm.
And that was my first full year real estate full time as a licensed real estate agent. And as a solo agent, sold about 22 homes. So I worked really hard. But the cool thing was that at the end of the year, I was able to look at my 1099, my statement of income, and I've replaced my full-time income with the Navy. I was like, you know what? I could do this. I could
Yeah.
actually like make a decent living doing this while also pursuing the investment side of things.
Mhm.
And 2020 came along, and my pipeline was so full that I was like, okay, I need to build a team. I need leverage. I'm only one person, so I need to figure out how to build leverage into my business. And that's when I picked up the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the Red Book
Oh.
by Gary Keller.
Mhm.
And I think I read 60 books in 2 years, my first 2 years in real estate, and I just became obsessed with, self-help books,
Yeah.
business, real estate, going to training sessions, things like that. So, 2020, I built my team. Started with an admin, a buyer's agent, a showing agent, kind of grew from there. And since 2020, we've sold over 350 plus homes,
Wow.
over $100 million in volume, and we're still going. I have
That's
partnerships and
amazing.
yeah, some stuff going on. So it's been an amazing journey, unexpected. I did not realize that it would turn into this, but
Sure.
I'm grateful.
Some agents listening that are getting in the business, they may feel like they don't even know where their first deal or second deal or third deal is going to come from. So what had that flow come in? I mean, what were you doing? Were you reaching out to people? Obviously reaching out to people, but what specifically were you doing to generate that type of volume so quickly?
Yeah, I became a walking billboard. Someone told me early in my career, don't be a secret agent, right? So, as a part-time agent and an instructor at the schoolhouse, I was telling all the staff members, my colleagues, like, hey, I'm a licensed real estate agent. If you need any advice or guidance or anything at all, let me know. I was just letting everyone know what I did, part-time. And sure enough, because I built a reputation of, being a trustworthy person, a few of them came up to me and they were like, "Yeah, I need your help with real estate." And I was brand new. I was like, "Okay, let's do it." I had no idea what I was doing. I had great mentors and people that helped me, but the fact that they trust me and they worked with me and they see me in action, was enough for them to choose me as a realtor. So it was just, don't be a secret agent. It was, let everyone know around you what you do, be excited about it.
Mhm.
Don't shy away from the fact that you're new, right? Everybody knew I was new, but what
Yeah.
they knew also is that I was an executor and I was going to get the job done and find the answers, right? So I wasn't afraid to say, "Hey, I don't have the answer, but I will get the answer." And that's how it started.
That is the perfect example of know you, like you, trust you, because people knew you and they already trusted you. So it really didn't matter what you were doing. They knew that whatever you were doing, they could trust you with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's basic. That's the bottom line. It's a relationship
Yeah.
business. So,
Yeah, that is it's such an underrated thing. I don't think people understand how valuable it is to just be a trustworthy person. And
yeah.
when people around you know because of your character that you can be trusted, you don't have to be a veteran in the business to be trusted. Your intention is to do the right thing every day. You're going to do the right thing, and people trust you. I mean, your business was built on your trustworthiness.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it grew from there. And most of my, being a veteran myself, a lot of my relationships in my community are veterans, military veterans. I am in a heavily influenced city, military,
Yeah.
DoD, Department of Defense, military. There's a lot of bases around. So that became my niche really fast, and I embraced it. I was like, all right, well, 90% of my clients are veterans. I have to know the VA loan really
Yeah.
well. I have to know how to reach out to them, bring them value, of course, become the subject matter expert and get the job done. So that's been my path.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very familiar with the VA loan. We many years ago, when the war was ending back in 20, a lot of veterans were coming home. I want to say it was like 2012, 2013. We were teaching at the VFW and the local VFW. I mean, we were doing seminars probably every six weeks. And we would have, 75 to 100 veterans coming in learning how to use their certificate. And what I found was, and I love the VA loan, it's the best loan on the market. What I found is that there's so much stigma around that product. And it was upsetting actually, because people were thinking the VA loan, they were concerned about seller costs, they were concerned about property condition, and they don't realize that it like literally is the best possible loan you can get. It when you qualify for it, they pretty much do anything they can to get the veteran, an underwriter, to get a veteran a loan. And then the appraisal process, they open it up to the Tidewater where you can produce comps before they produce the appraisal. I mean, there's so many things. It's just a lot of old stigma. So we actually put together a program that we rewarded the seller with a plaque if they chose our veteran, because you know we wanted to change that stigma, at least in our local community, because it was really, I was really surprised by how few people were willing to take a VA loan, and for no reason whatsoever, just the fact that it was a VA loan, they were just uneducated.
Yeah, absolutely. And there were some misconceptions. Anytime I talk to people about the VA loan or just buying a house, they would spit out these crazy things like, "Oh, I heard you can only use it once," or like, "I heard you have to be," I don't know, just whatever crazy stuff. And
Hmm.
it's like, no, that's not. Come to me for the
Yes,
guidance and advice and the facts, because people talk and rumors, and that's how misconceptions get spread. So that
exactly.
was just an opportunity for me to clear the air on what the truth is behind the VA loan. A lot of people found that powerful and helpful. So that's how I was able to gain their trust also.
Yeah, you're inspiring me to put some videos out on that, because I really, in today's day and age, back then it wasn't as popular to do videos, although it
Right.
wasn't that long ago. But in today's day and age, it's how we learn, which is the purpose of the show, is because we know that people learn from listening, and and on YouTube, the idea is that people, like, I listen to videos all the time when I'm at the gym, if I'm doing something at the house, you're just learning. So it's a good opportunity to get information about the VA loan out there, because it's really the best loan.
It is. Yeah, it's amazing. I've used it multiple times myself too. And as my career progressed, I was able to tell clients, like, look, guys, I am a product of what you can do with the VA loan,
Hmm.
going from, owner occupied, homeowner, active duty, doing what I got to do, and then jumping into different properties and then turning the other ones into investments, rentals. And that's how I built a small portfolio through the VA loan. Right.
Yeah.
And there's a specific strategy that you can use to do that. And
Yes.
so they get excited when they hear about that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And also just the property. I mean, other than it's people, they go, the roof has to be it's not the case. They just, you have to have an acceptable roof, which means you have to be able to get insurance. But that's every product. I mean, there's no loan product that you can get that you don't need insurance. So
Yeah,
it's just, you need to get insurance, make sure there's no termites, make sure that you can get insurance, and it's pretty much good to go.
yeah,
What was it like
absolutely.
being in the Navy? You traveled the world, I take it.
Yeah, I was in a community called the the Expeditionary Community, so NECC, Navy Expeditionary Combat Command. So I was with a small unit called the Riverine Unit. It was a small boat combat unit, and so my experience in the Navy was a lot different from the traditional sailor, because it was a smaller command. We were very focused on the expeditionary small craft, supporting, special warfare, Marines, all that stuff. And so, yeah, I didn't get to travel as much as if I were on a ship, but I did get to go to, the Middle East, Bahrain, up and down the Arabian Gulf, Bahrain, Dubai. I was able to do some training support missions in Peru and also in Panama. I got to go through the
Oh,
Panama
cool.
Canal and do some force protection stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool. It was fun. I
Yeah.
did I did travel the world before the Navy. Thankfully, I was I went to undergrad in New York State University, New York, and then I went to graduate school up in SUNY Cortland by Syracuse, and I finished my graduate degree in sport management by doing a study abroad program in Europe. Also, I went all over Western Europe. That was an amazing experience as well.
Yeah.
And then I joined the Navy after and traveled some more. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, you were ready. But by the time you hit real estate, you were ready to be in one spot, I bet.
Yeah, yeah. And it was nice. It just gave me a lot of perspective. Like, traveling really changed everything for me. I'm from a small housing project in New York City, small neighborhood, it's an intense environment, but it's, the same thing every day. And it's just this community, and not a lot of people from that environment get to venture out and travel and experience different things. So I'm grateful that I went to school upstate, and then I took that study abroad opportunity to go travel the world and see what it was like. So by the time I came back from Europe, my whole mindset changed. I was like, wow, anything's possible. Like a kid from the inner city, who grew up, not having a lot. And here I was in Paris and
Wow.
Germany, Belgium, Switzerland. And I remember coming back they picked me up from JFK, my brothers, and we were driving back to the city. And I was like, I just my whole perspective has changed. I don't even want to be in New York anymore. I want
Yeah.
to, I want to go experience other things. So on a whim, right after college, after I studied abroad, I moved to Miami, Florida, to South
Oh,
Florida. I took a
wow.
sales job,
Uh-huh.
and I just moved into an apartment and started my life. I was in a
Yeah.
lot of debt. I had a master's degree. I was 25 years old, but I had nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
And so I just started grinding, learning a lot about myself and sales. And I was selling door to door. I was selling like magazines and coupons door to door, which is
Yeah.
like the hardest form of sales, like face to face.
Yeah.
And then I did some business to business sales, learned a lot. And then '07, the market crashed. We all remember that. And '07, '08, and that's when I joined the Navy in '09. And I was like, you know what? I need to hit the reset button. I lost my job. I lost my
Yeah.
car. I was basically homeless. I
Yeah.
was homeless. If it wasn't for my brother taking me in and letting me sleep on his couch in a small studio apartment in South Beach, I would have been homeless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned a lot. I joined the Navy, hit the reset button, and then now here I am in my third life, I call it. I've had multiple lives at 42 years old. And yeah, real estate has completely changed my life.
Awesome.
It's been such a blessing for
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. And I love the business. I've been in the business for 22 years and I'm on the lending side, but the thing that I can say that I appreciate about myself is I do a lot of work on myself. So you were talking about self-help books and things like that. I do a lot of things to develop myself because I want to enjoy. I do believe that there's a pursuit to happiness. And on the way to happiness, you got to be happy,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
in order to do that, you really have to become self-aware. So what are some of the books, or I know you said that the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, but anything in particular that stands out that you would say coming into the business, you've got to read one or two books? What would those books be?
Coming into the business, millionaire real estate agent, millionaire real estate investor. There's also another book from the same series called Hold. It talks about, holding real estate, rental properties and such. Um, Man, a bunch of books. There's a book called Tax Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. That's a great, like, little book that shows you different hacks, so to speak, on saving money on taxes and whatnot, because that's another big thing. You can find success in real estate really fast, and it's awesome, and you're happy. And then all of a sudden, you don't understand how deductions work and how taxes work. And then, at the end of the year, you have a huge tax bill, and it's like, oh no, what do I do now?
Right.
And you could almost get set all the way back if you're not careful with your taxes being a 1099.
Yeah.
And so that was a good book. I read a book called The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
Yep. I know that book. Yep.
Time management at its finest, just like really hardcore, how to manage my time, because obviously the more successful you become, the more everyone wants to take your time, and you're demanded to be in different places at different times. So I had to get really focused with my calendar.
Mhm.
So a lot of great books. Uh, Recently, I haven't read, or I did audiobooks. I haven't listened to a lot of books, but now I'm shifting into podcasts.
Mhm.
So that's
Me
been
too.
how I absorb,
Darn.
information through podcasts. So that's been super powerful.
Yeah, that's me too. I've made that shift as well. I just read a book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan
Yeah,
Martell. It's
that's a
a
good
great
one.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I read that, but I agree. I learned a lot with podcasts because in podcasts I love the conversation, and I feel
Yeah.
like you do have the opportunity to learn a little bit, grab those tidbits and kind of take it. And you can also be doing whatever you're doing, whether you're at the gym or whatever,
Yeah, yeah. I
driving in
mean,
the
I listen to
car.
podcasts in the morning, in the shower, in my car, in the
Mhm.
gym, and it's cool because like some of them are funny podcasts, some of them are, they're so dynamic, and I'm like laughing, and some of them make you cry. Some of these podcasts are so powerful, you have to rewind it and
Yeah,
save it. Yeah, I just love it. I love hearing two people talk and go back and forth, and you just learn a lot about different topics and interviewing
yeah.
different people. So yeah, that's been my recent journey.
And there's so
Podcasts.
many types, there's so many types.
Yeah.
For me, if there's something I'm interested in, or maybe I'm just feeling unmotivated by something, get back to the gym. I was just away for a week in Italy, and coming
Nice.
back, I was like, oh, it's tough to get back on the routine. You get jet lag. So that, what I do is I know when I'm feeling like that, I start listening to podcasts about health and
Yeah.
fitness and nutrition because it just gets me right back. Because it's your environment. What are you listening to in your environment is going to keep you on track to whatever it is you want. And I use podcasts to keep me on track because it's in my environment.
Really.
whatever goal I'm looking to accomplish in that moment.
Yeah, for sure. Recently, I've been almost a year now, come going on 11 months. I've been on like a health journey transformation. I've lost over 35 pounds.
Wow.
I haven't drank alcohol in 11 months. I'm getting big into like biohacking and
Hmm.
just understanding my body more as I'm in my 40s. And I have a daughter who's 4 years old, and I want to stay healthy and alive for her. So just understanding my body more and not taking it for granted. I've had so many ailments and injuries throughout my career in the Navy that I just really buckled down on just making my health a priority, because the better version of myself I become, the better I can serve as a leader, the better I can serve my community and my clients. So, yeah, I was pretty unhealthy for a while. That's another thing you have to be careful when you find success in business and real estate. You're go, 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 go. And you get obsessed with the hustle, obsessed with the grind. And a lot of people that fall into that trap neglect themselves, right?
Yeah.
And it's just give, 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 give. But the best form of giving is to give yourself and to love yourself so that you can
Yep.
serve others, right?
Yeah.
So I learned that lesson the hard way, and I was in really, really bad shape. And thank God, I just turned it around, and it was just a mindset shift,
Yeah.
and sacrifice and commitment. Like my Friday nights look different now. Like I was just thinking about this earlier. I picked up some hobbies, some really challenging hobbies like jujitsu. I picked up jujitsu at 41 years old, which is wild to get my butt kicked every day. But it's just challenging and great, and you meet great people, and it's a lot more mentally challenging than physically at times, and weightlifting heavily, things like that. So um, my Friday nights are not going out and drinking with the fellas, right? Obviously, I have a small child and I have 50-50 custody of her.
Yeah.
But just my Friday nights consist of training with the
Yeah.
fellas and getting
And
my
having a
butt
great
kicked.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, and having a great time. And
Yeah.
and what my version of a great time is now, it was not the same
That's
years
right.
ago, right? When I was being self-destructive and just not
Yeah.
caring about my mental, physical, and emotional health, right? And so I'm just so balanced. I feel a lot more balanced now, a lot more clear-minded, and so yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, I've been this message, things come to you over time. And the message that I keep getting lately is that when you to be grateful to have problems, because when you're well, you have problems in other areas than your health. But when you're not well, the only problem you have is your health, because it's the only thing you can focus on. So,
Sorry, I'm putting the plug in. I didn't
oh,
want it
that's
to
all
die.
right. That's all right.
Yeah, I agree. That all you have is your health. Like, what good
Yeah,
are you to anyone if you're not healthy, let alone dead?
right.
Like, and being now in my 40s and having a child at a later age in life, and running around and trying to be uh present with my daughter and show up to everything. Yeah, it just hit me like, you got to change your ways, you got to change your habits. You don't move the way you used to, so
I,
and I've been getting really into recovery as well, which
oh,
is
good.
another thing that's overlooked, right? It's like I love working out. I've always been athletic. I've always been kind of fit, right? Even when I was overweight. But I never focused on stretching. I never focused on sauna, a hot tub, just like soaking in magnesium, things that I do now
Yeah.
that help me recover so that I can get back after it, right? It was just like
Mhm.
go, go, go. But now the body's like, nah, recover.
Yeah, I'm into biohacking too. I love all the I listen to a lot of that. Do you listen to The Ultimate Human with Gary Brecka?
Ray Brecca, love that guy.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I
Yeah.
ordered methylene blue.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so it's gonna come in soon. I don't know if you ever heard of the Hume Health scale. I just got it. It literally just came in the mail. It's a scale you stand on and you grab it, and it sends a signal through your body and gives you all these metrics about your body fat composition and muscle
Oh,
and all that stuff. So yeah, I
what is
love
it
that
called?
stuff. It's called the Hume Health, Hume
Oh,
Health
okay.
Scale.
I'll have to
It's
check
like
it out.
$250, but it
Yeah.
gives you all your stats.
That's one night
So
out drinking, $250.
yeah, no,
Right?
seriously,
Your money
yeah.
goes in different places now.
And you know what? I went out last night with my buddy, and he was drinking. I still go out once in a while, and being sober is becoming a lot more popular. It feels like it's just like, nobody hassles me about not having, or I'll have a non-alcoholic Corona like I did
Right.
last night. It looks like a Corona, it tastes like it, but
Yeah.
it's just non-alcoholic,
Right.
and I feel great in the morning. I can do more the next day instead of being hungover and all that stuff I used to deal with. So Yeah,
How has this
it's been nice.
impacted your business, this change in your spiritual,
Yeah.
physical, emotional health? How has that impacted your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, when I first built my team, I didn't party as much. Also, it was in the middle of COVID, so 2020. So I was just really focused on finishing my career in the Navy. My team, there was COVID going on and all that stuff. So I was pretty grounded. And then, I started to find some success in 21, 22, 23, and I got a little too comfortable. And once again, going out, you got some money in your pocket, right? You buy some things and have fun and go out. And so I didn't realize that as a leader, leading people and my team and my staff, I wasn't always showing up the way I needed to show up for them. And here's a group of people who believe in me, who follow me, who believe in the vision and trust me. And I would miss 1 or 2 days, hungover, partying too much or whatever, and just not taking things as serious and not showing up. And so when I started getting serious with my health, I realized that as I show up as the best version of myself, I lead by example, I'm looked at differently, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm creating a lot more meaningful, deeper relationships with my teammates, and the staff, and I'm showing up better. And that's really my priority. So I have an app that tracks the amount of days I've been sober,
Mhm.
and it tells you, you know, what's the reason you're doing this. And my reason is to show up as the best version of myself for my teammates, for my daughter, for myself, so that I can be as effective as possible. Because, I'm high functioning ADHD, alpha, energetic. I'm doing a bunch of different things. I want to do everything all at once, right?
Mhm.
So how can I become efficient at doing many things? I need to be like on top of my health so that
Yeah.
I can actually get these things done, to include sleep, which is something that I've really been trying to focus on.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just I feel like I'm showing up better. I've gotten compliments from my teammates, which is the best feeling ever.
Sure.
It's like, hey man, you're showing up better. I appreciate it. It means a lot. And that's all I needed. That was
Yeah.
the validation I needed.
I love that, Richie. No, I really do. And I'm really into the biohacking. And just when I say biohacking, it's really just the attention that has come into because of social media and YouTube and and podcasts and so forth, like we were talking about. There's access to such great information. It's not as hard as it once was to get information, and it's just so great. I love it. I'm grateful for it. I love that Gary Brecka, came out and changed his career to really help people, because you now see this upswing. I'm sure he paved the way for a lot of people, although a lot of people were in the space already. I feel like he kind of exploded the space.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, it's just information is everything, right? So
Mhm.
like the more we learn about our bodies and what's good and what's bad for our bodies, we all know that processed food and certain things that we get from the grocery store are not good.
Mhm.
But it wasn't. I feel like in the past, before podcasting and all the information we're getting now, it just wasn't in our face as much. So now it's like becoming more and more popular, so to speak. So it's like every single time I scroll, I see something, the algorithm is working me and
Right.
it's showing me scales and showing me health stuff
Yeah.
and biohacks.
Right. Yeah.
And so yeah, that's been super helpful. And yeah, and like I said, it's cool again to not be a smoker. It's
That's
cool
right.
again to be sober. It's cool to be healthy.
Right.
So yeah.
It reminds me of the movie, 21 Jump Street, when they go back to
Yeah.
school and he has the backpack on the one shoulder, and they're like, no, man, it's cool to be smart now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. With health, everyone's like, yeah, I want to find ways to get healthier. And mental health has been an issue. I mean, in the military, it's a huge issue. I've had many, unfortunately, I've experienced, many people I've served with who committed suicide, and
Mhm.
you know, and everything that goes on with that. And so as I get older, I become more aware of where I am mentally and emotionally. And it's like, man, I could be in great shape, but if my mind and my heart isn't there, then I'm no good, right? And now, and once again, my daughter was a huge push. She was born in 2020 in the middle of COVID. And as she gets older, I fall more and more in love with her, and
Oh,
I'm just so amazed with her, and it's just like it just constantly reminds me like you got to show up. Like this is it. Like this, she is looking at you to pave the way, right? And so I didn't grow up much, right? And so now I have an opportunity to not only provide a good life for my daughter, but show her rather than just tell her, show her what a healthy person mentally, physically, emotionally looks like. Show her what building wealth and financial literacy looks like. So that's really my focus and my goal in life. So any leverage that I create in my business through my team and the other businesses and partners that I have, that leverage because I need to spend more time with my daughter. I want
yeah,
to. That is my priority, right?
yeah,
And so what opportunity costs? Oh, you could make more money if you did it yourself. I don't focus on that. I don't care because the truth is I have an abundant mindset. I have a generous mindset. Generosity breeds abundance. And so I don't think about opportunity costs when I'm leveraging my business because it all comes back and somehow it just works out and I get what I need and I get more than what I need and I'm able to impact more lives the more I'm able to leverage and do more partnerships. I'm more of a team person. I'm not like a solo. I don't want to do anything alone. I don't like doing anything
yeah,
alone,
yeah.
so
I just literally told my partner, yes, I have a young partner. He's just turned 30, but he's awesome. I mean, he's such a professional and I just adore him. I love him. I want him to succeed. He wants me to succeed. And we celebrate each other's wins and on our personal lives. And he supported me when I was in Italy. And I just texted him yesterday and I'm like, man, it would suck to work without you. I mean, the experience of the day would just suck. And we laugh because we enjoy it.
yeah.
I feel like that mindset that you have, that abundant, generous mindset, it works so well when you're on a team. And that's why teams do more business. When people work together, there's that accountability. We just do more when we're together. I don't want to do it alone. Personally, I know that you don't. I can feel that within you. So I just know that. But when you have the right people around you and you're all celebrating each other, it's like, what really more could you want out of your work experience, out of your career experience, having people that you can celebrate and that can celebrate you. It really doesn't get better than that as far as a
Does it?
working experience.
Yeah, I just want to impact lives, right? It sounds cheesy and cliche, but it's like, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've messed up a lot as a leader. Early on, when I first built the team, retention with agents was hard. People were leaving left and right. I made a lot of mistakes as a leader. I showed a bunch of selfishness at times, and I just didn't understand, real leadership and servant leadership and putting others before yourself and that abundant mindset, and I paid for it in different ways and my business paid for it. And so now I feel like I really understand the importance of knowing your people and checking in on them every single day and
Mhm.
checking in on their lives. And this Sunday we're at 1 p.m. at my house. We're having a team bonding event, we call it. And bring the kids over. We'll get a bounce house. We'll throw the football around in the backyard and let's just spend quality time with each
Yeah.
other and support each other because we're all human. We all have stuff going on, right? We tend to have tunnel vision and think we're the only ones with issues and stuff like that. But you get to know your teammates and you realize, wow, they have probably worse issues sometimes, and we could all help each other. And that's the whole purpose of us being together.
Yeah.
So I've really embraced that.
I'm telling you, I want to come work for you. You're amazing.
I
I
appreciate it. It's been
love that.
fun.
That's awesome. Good for you, Richie. Um, I think that ultimately being in real estate, it affords us a great lifestyle. Me in the lending side, you in the real estate side. When it comes to your daughter, having the flexibility of being able to be available for her, I know that was a huge thing for me. I have two children. They're teenagers now. My daughter just turned 18. My son's 15. So, but when they were little, when they were your daughter's age, it was really important when they get older, they're more self-sufficient. But at her age, every moment matters. Every
Yes.
moment matters. Her subconscious is being built.
Yeah.
So, the love and the attention and knowing that she's important. John Maxwell said something to me. I never forgot it. Well, not to me in a video. My president of my region knows John well, so he's been in our meetings a lot. But he said in one of our meetings that when he creates his calendar, he sits down with his family And they put in the family time first because it's his way of saying, you come first. I have these responsibilities, but what are we going to do as a family first to make sure that that's in the calendar so I don't schedule too much? And I was like, wow, that's amazing. What a great signal to a child, to a spouse, to a partner that, this matters, you matter first. That's a great sign, great signal.
It's funny you say that because I color code my calendar. I'm really strict with my calendar, and the color code for pink is family time. And I have weekends with my daughter. Any of anything involving my daughter or close family is in my calendar. Everything goes in my calendar, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, and I share my calendar with the staff and my director of operations, and she knows like. If Rich is with his daughter, you can shoot him a text, but that's his priority, right? So
Yeah.
it's known that, hey, this is daddy daughter weekend. I'm available, but I'm with my daughter, and that's a
Yeah.
priority, you know.
I love that. I love that, Richie, because those moments she'll love those
Oh,
forever.
yeah. The look on her face when I go to gymnastics, and she has cheerleading tomorrow at 9 a.m. and she's always looking for me and her mom and I get along really well as
That's a
co-parents.
gift.
And so that's been a huge blessing.
Mhm.
But it's just priceless just seeing her, they don't care about the money and the hustling and all the other stuff I'm doing with it. She doesn't care about that. She
Oh,
wants to kick the soccer ball around and
yeah.
see daddy at her events.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been fun.
Yeah. And I've learned a little bit further down the road as far as with the kids, I've learned that they pay attention to when you feel financially stressed out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially my daughter's very keen to that because she's going off to college, and I didn't realize how affected she was when we were talking finances. I mean, it's all we've been paying prepaid and everything, but in her mind, she didn't want to feel like she was causing any financial stress. And being able to sit down and have those types of conversations, saying that's our responsibility. Your responsibility is to go learn. We got you. We got this. You just go do what you need to do and just take the pressure off so that they can. When my kids were little, I read a book called Baby Wise, and in the first chapter of the book, it changed my whole perspective. It was when I had my daughter; she was an infant, and it said that a child learns when they learn better when their home is secure. So when they feel secure, meaning that they're loved, they are settled, they have their places, they know what's theirs, they can thrive. When they feel that, if they have to worry, even as a young child, as young as your daughter, it's hard for them to, of course, I mean, you think of it's obvious to be sitting in class learning something when they're worried if something's wrong at home, so
Yeah.
it's not always easy. Life is hard. We go through a lot of things with relationships. Relationships can be challenging at times. Relationships have to be challenging because that's how they grow, so having a non-challenging relationship doesn't make sense. But just being able to, be able to grow, but it'll still provide love for your child, even in those circumstances. It's an art. So my hat off to you, Richie, because it's not easy. It's not easy. And congratulations on putting her first. That's really awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. It's been great. This is only the beginning, so
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
yeah. So and I had this conversation with my friend the other day. I was like, hey, we talk to our kids and we speak life and love into them. But I started to think to myself, how many times am I showing through action, through example, what I'm talking about with, my child? So being into the health stuff and whole food diet and high protein, low carbs, no processed food, less sugar, all of these things that I talked to her about. Like we're in the cereal aisle and she's like, Daddy, can I get this? I'm like, no, that's terrible. Are you kidding? Like, look at all the grams of sugar. So we have fun with it. And I actually pulled the box and I show her. And of course, she's a kid. So once in a while she gets snacks and we have fun
Yeah.
with it. But when I'm eating, I'm like, she sees the meals I'm cooking. She's like, what do you have, Daddy? I'm like, this is, these are whole foods. This is fruit, vegetables, meat. This is why it's important. And then it's like, working out and staying healthy. I have a home gym. I have my garage. It's a 2-car garage. And I spent a ton of money and I just set up this amazing home gym. And I bring her with me. And sometimes she works out with me and I work out in front of her. I put the cartoons on because
Sure.
she gets bored.
Sure.
But then sometimes she just goes next to me and picks up the weights and she
Yeah.
watches me. I could see her watch me and I'm just leading by example. I feel better that I'm showing her that daddy cares about fitness, daddy cares about health, and so should you. And I'm going to show you rather than tell you.
Yeah, I'm going to send you something. Our president interviewed Kara Lawson. She is the you know who she is? She's the Duke basketball player coach.
Oh yeah.
She was just in the Olympics. So he interviewed her. We have something called the personal and professional best, and our president interviews people. He's interviewed Nick Saban. I mean, amazing coaches and so forth. And we've had the privilege of learning from them. The Kara Lawson, she said that when she was a little girl, her dad was successful in business, and he used to take her to the meetings, and he specifically did that because he wanted her to feel comfortable with important people and make her feel like that's normal,
Yeah.
So I'm going to send you the interview. I think you'd get a lot out of it. It was really good. She's one of my favorite interviews by far. Just her story and the way that she develops. It's a great lesson as far as development and how she develops her players is pretty incredible. So I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I love that. And so we know as mortgage and real estate professionals, we have a lot of conversations in the car. It just happens like that because we're in our car a lot. And because of the dynamic with me having split custody with her, she's in my car and I live 15 minutes from where her mom lives. And so we're in the car a lot. And, I'm very cognizant of obviously what I put on. Sometimes I put podcasts on. Sometimes I purposefully do my check-in calls, my 5-10 minute check-in calls with my teammates in the car while she's in the back so she can hear how I speak with my teammates, how I ask them how they're doing, how I care for them. Sometimes we talk business and she hears. I could see her through a rearview mirror and just listening and wow. And then a few times she's asked me like, Daddy, what do you do again? And I'm like, yeah, I sell homes. I'm an investor. I help people buy homes. And so I could see like how intrigued she is. And I make sure when I'm having a conversation that I'm very intentional about how I'm talking with my teammates, how I'm receiving information from them. And she just soaks it all up. So the next step is going to be to take her to meetings and things like that and put her in that environment,
Yeah. Yeah. Throw her in there.
Yeah.
Throw her in there. Yeah. It's so good. Look, let's assume, you're a little down the road, way down the road, and you're looking back on your career in real estate. You've built a team, you've done tons of sales, your daughter's grown up a little bit more. What would you want to be remembered for in this real estate, at this time in your life in the real estate business?
Such a great question. I want to be remembered as someone who cared and really truly want other people to do well. I'm the type that roots for the underdog. I love when people change things around. I'm sort of an underdog story, so that's why I have like a soft spot for that. I love my military veterans. I love just seeing people evolve and transform. So I want to be known as someone who really had an impact on helping people reach, a step into their greatness, so to speak. Like we all have the ability to be great, right? And sometimes we discover it early in life. Sometimes we discover it late in life. Sometimes we need people around us to help us discover it. And so I want to be known as one of those people who believed in others so much that I help people discover their greatness and step into their greatness. And it doesn't matter whether it's through real estate or anything. That's the type of impact I want to, and the legacy I want to leave to people for people to come to my funeral and look at my daughter and be like, your dad helped me do this, or your dad helped me transform, or man, if it wasn't for your dad, I wouldn't have been able to do this. Like that to me is important,
That's amazing. Have you ever heard of the Michelangelo effect?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so my coach, I do a lot of work in a program called Self-Discovery Life Mastery, and it's a program I've been in for many years, and I love it. It's where I go to get my medicine, my food, my growth, right? But we talk about the Michelangelo effect. I'm actually going to Florence for I'm going to Rome, and I'm going to go to Florence because I want to go see. I saw the statue of David years ago, but Michelangelo, when he sculptured the statue of David, they asked him, how did you create that out of that block of stone, of marble. And he said, all I did was chip away what wasn't David. And that's the Michelangelo effect. It's like the greatest version of your teammates, the greatest version of you, the greatest version of me, the greatest version of your daughter, my children. It already exists. It's just every day we're
Absolutely.
just chiseling away a little bit what's not that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, great one.
Yeah. I'm going back to, I want to go see that statue again, knowing that and just the work that I've done on myself and chipping away my own
Yeah.
limitations, being able to see that. It's just now I have such an appreciation because it's what you're saying is you're chipping away what's not their greatness, showing them that they already exist, that already
Yeah.
exists. Yeah.
I truly feel that way, that everyone has it in them. It's just sometimes you just need a little push to discover it.
I share that belief with you, Richie. I really do. I truly believe that every single person, the greatest version of them already exists.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'm still stepping into my own greatness and I fall
Same.
short every day, right? And but just sharing my story and sharing my trials and tribulations. I'm very transparent and open with my teammates. We operate like a family. We love each other dearly. We care about each other. And they know the journey I've been on with my health and my mental health. And, I think sharing it can be inspirational to them. And then they start to go home and reflect and think, I can do that too. And that's where the magic happens. It's like you see it in somebody else, and then you're like, wow, I see it in myself. I can do this. I know I can.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes we think that we have to be perfect for people to learn from us, but what I've learned is that we just have to be willing to be better each day.
Yeah.
And there's a when we respect ourselves in that scenario,
Yeah.
once you respect yourself, people are like, wow, they're doing it, they're
Yeah.
on the journey. Yeah.
It's a lot of my previous downfall in life in recent years was out of lack of self-love, lack of self-respect.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand. I thought being confident and handling business was being self-love and loving myself. It couldn't be furthest from the truth. I was ignoring the fact that I truly was not loving myself properly, and I couldn't love others properly, whether that's romantic or personal relationships
Yeah.
or a relationship with my daughter, with family. There's like you have to really truly pour into yourself and love yourself. And
Yeah.
that's what I've been really focusing on, right? And that includes what I put into my body, what I put into my mind, and then also what comes out of me in the form
Right.
of actions and words. And so that's been the biggest thing. And being good, being okay, being alone, being in your own thoughts. That's been huge because I was always like, I always wanted to be around somebody. I always had needed this validation of having someone near me. And it's like, now that I've been really focusing on embracing solitude and like stoicism and not being overly emotional about things and really just inner thought and perspective, it's changed everything. It's changed how I look at life, period, and how I look at relationships.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's hard to give love away when you don't have it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
it's hard to give respect away if you don't have it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's awesome.
So,
Well, now I know why Tara loves you so much.
thank you. Likewise, likewise. You're great. Yeah, she's a firecracker. I see so much of myself in Tara, and I hope
Me
she
too.
sees the same with me. But yeah, just go, go, go. Loves hard, works hard, and always takes time to like sit back and reflect on the day. Very introspective, and so I try to be like that. And she's younger than me, but there's a lot of people who are in my circle, my inner circle, and in my life who are like younger than me that I look up to
Mhm.
because they have such. I'm a glass half full person. I tend to see the good in people. And I love seeing all these positive qualities in people. And that's what I adore and look up to in people. And I try to emulate those things. And I'm sure I've provided inspiration as well, I've been told. And so yeah, that's where I draw my power from the people around me who like inspire me to do different things.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It is such a pleasure to get to know you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and, understanding why you do what you do every day. I wish you so much more success. I know you're just beginning, you're just getting started. So Yeah.
Thank you so much. Likewise, I wish you nothing but success, and anything you need, I'm here. We're connected now, so you can't get rid
Yes.
of me. So anything you need, I'm here to help serve.
It was so great to get to know you a little bit, Richie. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Lynn.
Bye.